Hi everyone and welcome back to the Wellbeing Shed. For today's class we are going to start seated, so just come and find a comfortable position, preferably with your legs crossed. We are going to start by extending the arms out in front of us. We're just going to stretch off through the wrists, get a little bit of mobility in there. So I just want you to drop the hands down, so you're bringing your fingers down towards the floor and then point the fingers up towards the ceiling, opening through the palms. So just facing down and then up. Starting to get into the Pilates breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keeping the elbows nice and soft. We take a final 4. Wrist mobility, really important, something that we tend to neglect quite a lot and forget about. Last one. Bring the hands back into neutral, and then we're just going to take some wrist circles. So you can take a bend in the elbow if that feels better for you, and just turning the wrists in one direction. If you sit at a desk all day typing, then this might feel quite nice for you. And then we'll take it back in the other direction. Stay with the breath. And just making sure that we're getting that movement into the wrist and not just moving the arms around everywhere. And then we're just going to clasp the hands together and just start to take a bit of a figure 8 movement, rolling out through the wrists. Might take a few seconds just to get into the movement and into a bit of a rhythm. Got one wrist clicking every time. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing the arms down, give the wrists a little shake. And then I want you to come and sit on one hand. So palm down, and we drop the shoulder down so it's nice and relaxed. From here we take an inhale. On our exhale, we drop the head down to one side, coming into a nice neck stretch. Start to feel that all down the side of the neck. And by sitting on the hand, we make sure that we draw the shoulder down and we're not hitching it up towards our ear. And we really get the most from the stretch here. And then if it feels right for you, bring this other arm up and over onto the side of the head, and you're just gently pressing the head back up into the hand. Again, relax the shoulder down away from the ear. And breathe. We're then just going to change the head position. So take the eye gaze down towards the shoulder, place the hand on the back of the head, and then we're gently pressing the head back up into the hand again. Shoulders relaxed. We isolate the stretch in the neck. Lovely. Bringing the arm back down by the side and the head back up to center. We're then going to change sides. So release the hand, coming onto the other side. Shoulder relaxes down. Taking your inhale. Exhale, drop the head down, relax through the shoulders, and feeling that stretch down the side of the neck. You might have one side that feels a bit tighter than the other, maybe feels a little bit more uncomfortable. But that's okay, perfectly normal. But just recognize which side feels a bit tighter. Taking the hand up and over, onto the side of the head, gently press back up. Remember to relax the shoulder down. And we sit nice and tall through the spine. We're then going to turn the head towards the shoulder, hand comes onto the back of the head, gently press back up. You're just feeling that slight change in the stretch, change in the position of the stretch. Keep breathing for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come and relax that arm down. Gently bring the head up and into the centre. Well done. Come on, off the hand. And we're going to flip round into our 4-point kneeling. So we bring hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Shoulders are directly over the wrists. We lift up through the centre. So lift up through the belly, draw in from the sides of the waist. We create a strong position. From here, we're going to shift the weight backwards. So we sit the weight back onto the heels and then bringing it forwards. So we're just shifting the weight back and forth. Again, we start to build a little bit of strength into the wrists. We start to engage the abdominals. And we bring a bit of mobility into the hips. So stay with the breath, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And it's whatever breath pattern works for you. So you may breathe in and then breathe out to sit the hips back, or in the opposite direction, breathing out to lift, inhale to sit back. Final 4. Three. 2. And last one. We're going to come back to the 4-point kneeling. We take the arms, walking the hands over to the right hand side. Legs stay where they are. So we're on this little diagonal. And we do the same thing. So we shift the weight back and then bring it forwards. It might be that the shoulders don't come completely over the wrist. That's fine. And as you shift the weight back, you should feel that stretch down the side of the body. Last 2. Holding in the centre. Walking it back through, bringing the arms over to the left-hand side, so we're on the diagonal, and we shift the weight back. And then forwards. Keep lifting up through the belly, lifting the belly button towards the spine. Feeling that stretch isolate down the other side. Into our last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Perfect. Walk the hands back through to the centre. Something a little bit different. I'm going to shuffle back a little bit so that we've got some space. So we're going to shift the weight back, so as if you're coming into a bit of a child's pose. We then bring the body forwards, rounding through the spine. We drop the hips down, lift through the chest, roll the shoulders back, so we come into this up dog position. We then roll back through the spine, sitting back onto the heels, coming into your child's pose position. Breathing in, rolling and rounding up through the spine. Exhaling, drop the hips, lift through the chest, lift the eye gaze, shoulders are back. Push back onto the heels. Feeling that stretch in the upper body. Lift the belly, start rounding through the spine. Draw the hips down. Starting to feel the stretch in the lower back and across the front of the stomach. Exhale, push back. This is really good for mobilizing through the spine. Starting to get the stretch into the lower back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, rounding the spine. Lifting the eye gaze. Inhale. Exhale, push back. We're going to take a few more here. Really getting that stretch into the back of the body. And then into the front of the body. Coming into our final 2. Lift the belly, round through the spine like in your cat stretch. Draw the hips down. Take your time. Into your last 1. Big rounding through the spine. Try and get as much mobility as you can. Drawing it down. Breathe. Pushing back into your child's pose position. Reaching the arms along. Take a breath, and then just want you to take your left arm and thread it underneath the right arm. So we come into our thread the needle. Feeling that stretch into the upper body, into the shoulder blades. Breathe into the stretch. And the further you reach the arms away, the deeper the stretch will get. If you do want a little bit more, you can take this top arm, wrap it around the back so you come into a bit of a bind. We want to focus on rolling that shoulder back so we open up through the front of the chest and the shoulder joints. Let me take a few more breaths here. If you've taken the bind, bringing the arm down, lengthening it along the mat again. For our final 2 breaths. Coming back into the centre. I'm sorry, I'm going to be turning away from you here. Right arm reaches underneath. Into our thread the needle. Reaching the arms nice and long. Just getting that stretch in the back of the body to start with. Resting the head down on the mat if you can. Keep with the breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then if you want to, you can take that bind, bringing the top arm up and around, open up through the shoulder. So really focus on rolling the shoulder back so we open up through the front of the body. Keep breathing. Final 2 breaths. And then bringing that arm back through to the centre, reaching away just for a few more seconds. And then coming back through to the centre, reaching both arms forward, just drop the head down. And take a few breaths here. Just enjoying that stretch. Then start to walk the hands in towards the body. And we're going to come up and over onto our back. So just however it feels good for you to come over and come and lay down. So we're just wanting to lie here with neutral spine and neutral pelvis. Placing the feet on the floor with the knees bent. And just let your upper body relax down. So your shoulders relax into the mat. We have a little bit of tension in the abdominals. So just think about gently starting to scoop those abdominals in. And we have the natural curves underneath the spine. So we have the little gap underneath the lower back. We then have a little gap underneath the neck as well. And that's where the natural curves in the spine are and where we would expect the little gaps to be. Just with the arms down by the sides to start with. And I just want you to take a few breaths in this position, just allowing the body to relax down. And just think about drawing the abdominals in and up. And I want you to lift both arms up towards the ceiling so they're in line with your shoulders. And we just reach through the fingertips. Shoulders are still relaxed down onto the floor at this point. I'm going to take one arm. So think about your right arm. Lift up towards the ceiling so your shoulder lifts off of the floor. We reach and then relax down. Moving on to the left side. Reach up, shoulder lifts, and then bringing it back down. So I just want you to go through this movement. The shoulder lifts off of the floor completely. You feel the lift and the reach. You may find that the rest of your body starts to sort of rotate at the same time. And that's fine if it comes from the upper body. Try and keep that lower body still, just so that we can isolate this movement a little bit more. Just stay here for a little bit longer. Maybe try and get a bit of an extra lift into the shoulder. Think about lifting the shoulder blade. One more each side. And then relax down. We're going to keep the arms where they are. We need to take your right arm over the head. Your left arm comes down beside the body. We then bring them both up into the center and change sides. These are your backstroke arms. Come into the center and change. So this is where we start to bring in a bit of shoulder mobility. Very important for the shoulders. So we tend to spend a lot of our time in flexion, where we hunch the shoulders and the upper back. We don't always get a lot of movement into the shoulders during our daily lives. And the shoulders, the shoulder blades stay connected with the floor. Movement comes from the shoulder joints. And just keeping it nice and controlled. So really starting to feel the range of movement into those shoulders. Hopefully they're starting to feel a little bit more relaxed, a bit less tense. We're going to take 4 more. One arm up, one arm down. Into the last one. I'm going to bring both arms up into the centre where we started and then bring them down by the sides. Lovely. Repeat. So from here, I want you to bring both knees up into our tabletop position. So the knees come to 90 degrees. Relax the upper body. And here I want you to think about scooping the abdominals in. So this is a little bit of abdominal work, but it's not anything too intense. We're not looking for intensity today. So from this position, I want you to bring your hands onto your thighs. So already we're having to think about that abdominal engagement a little bit more because we've taken away that stability from the feet and from the arms and the hands. Squeezing the legs together, hands on the thighs. I want you to think about engaging the abdominals as we press the hands into the thighs. So we press hands into thighs, thighs into hands. So we create a bit of resistance. And we keep pushing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Taking a breath, inhale, prepare, exhale, press. So we create that resistance of the hands pressing into the legs and the legs pressing back into the hands. And release. And we really feel our abdominals starting to work here. Let's press again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a very small move, but you can really feel it working. It's an effective move. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, press. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Ooh. Really feeling it in the core. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, press. Keeping the exhale. Keep pressing. 2, 1. Release. I'm going to go for one more time. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, press. 5, 4. Scoop in. 3. Squeeze the legs. 2, and 1. Release. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Woo-hoo. Breathe. Relax the breathing. And just gently turn the head from side to side, releasing any tension that we might have just built up through the neck. Perfect. We bring a little bit of a stretch into the hips here and into the lower back. Lovely. Bring the head back into the centre. We'll just keep drawing the right knee in towards the chest, but I want you to lengthen the left leg away. I'm just going to shuffle up my mat a little bit. We lengthen the left leg away, drawing the right knee in. isolating that stretch a little bit more. Then we need to just bring the hands onto the knee, so just lightly, and then we start to circle the knee round. And there might not be a big range of movement here, if that's okay. And then taking it in the other direction, to make sure we get that full range of movement. Perfect, final 2. And 1. We're going to change sides, so bring that foot down, lengthen it away. We draw the left leg in, draw the knee in towards the chest, feel that stretch into the hip. Focus on relaxing the shoulders, take that tension away from the upper body. And then when you're ready, starting with the circles. You might find it easier to hold onto the thigh just lightly. We're not forcing the knee round, we're just using the hands as a little bit of support. Trying to keep the hips still, so keeping this opposite side down as much as we can. You might find it helpful to place the hand onto the opposite hip. And then we'll go back in the other direction. Nearly there. Last 2. And last 1. Just lengthen that leg away. Just feeling that opening across the front of the hips. Perfect. We're going to bring both the knees in and lengthen the legs up towards the ceiling. So both legs lift. And you might want to take a little knee bend if you can't get your legs completely straight. That is fine. It's no problem at all. Bring the arms down by the sides. And I just want you to start flexing and pointing through the feet. So bring in a bit of ankle mobility. And also thinking about that stretch along the backs of the legs at the same time. So as you flex the feet, you're more likely to get a bit of stretch into the lower part of the leg. But really, this is slightly more of a focus today on the ankles and the feet in this position. So just enjoy this little movement. Stay with the breath. Final 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just bring the legs apart slightly and just take some ankle circles. You might need to bring the hands to the backs of the legs just for a little bit of support. Again, we're not pulling, just using it to take a bit of the pressure away from the hip flexors. But otherwise, if you can keep the arms down, then that's fine. Then we're just going to take those ankle circles back in the other direction. for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just drawing the knees in towards the chest for a second. You need to bring the left foot down onto the floor. Your right leg is going to extend up towards the ceiling. Take hold behind the thigh and just start to draw the leg in towards the chest. Come into a hamstring stretch. So it's the top part of the back of the leg. Relax the shoulders as much as you can. An option, if you want it, is to extend the left leg away. This will depend on how tight your hips are as to whether that feels comfortable for you or not. You might just want to take a little knee bend to take that pressure away. My hips are very tight, so I am taking a little knee bend just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And as you feel the stretch start to ease off, just draw the leg a little bit further in towards the chest. So we target the back of the leg. From here, I want you to draw the leg across the body, so over towards the opposite shoulder. This isolates in the outside of the leg. So down into the upper thigh, the glute and the hip. And these are your abductors, so the muscles that take the leg away from the body. Again, just using that hand as a bit of support. And breathe through the stretch. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the leg back into the center. Then I'm going to take it out the other way. So bringing the leg away from the body, using the hand as a bit of support. Doesn't matter if your leg isn't straight, but try and keep this opposite hip down. So again, you might want to place the hand onto the left hip, just to make sure it's not lifting off of the floor. Here we start to isolate on the inner thigh, the adductors, so the muscles that bring the leg towards the body. We hold 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently bring the leg back in. Ooh, place that side down. And we lift the left leg. Holding behind the thigh. Just the hamstring stretch at the moment. So drawing the leg in towards the chest. And choose your option with the right leg. You might want to extend away. Might feel a bit better for you on this side. Maybe a slight knee bend just to take that pressure away. Or you might need to bring the knee in a little bit closer. It's whatever works for you. The focus is on the back of the left leg. We're still thinking about scooping those abdominals in a little bit, just to give us a little bit more stability. We relax the shoulders down. Use the out breath to take the tension away from the upper body. And keep drawing the leg in. You feel the stretch start to ease off. Stay with the breath. I want you to take the leg, drawing it across the body, so towards the opposite shoulder. Keeping this opposite hip down. Using the hand as a bit of support, if you need it. targeting the abductors, the outer leg muscles. And maybe just trying to straighten out the leg a little bit more. We stay with the breath a little bit longer. Then bringing the leg back into the centre, taking it away from the body. So focus on this opposite hip, making sure it stays down on the floor. I'm going to start to lift up a little bit there. Using the arm as support. Keeping this knee nice and centred. Okay, I want to roll through the hips. And breathe. It might be that one leg doesn't have quite as much mobility as the other. That's okay. And we breathe for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Leg comes back into the centre. Relax it down. Oh, we might want to lengthen the legs out a little bit again. And then we're going to come and roll onto our side. So you have a few options here. You can either lengthen this bottom arm and rest the head on the top of the arm, or you can come and rest the head in the hand, if that feels more comfortable for you. Completely your choice here. I want you to bend the knees. So we've got the knees at 90 degrees and the feet come underneath the bum. So our shoulder, hip and feet are in alignment. And we start to think about drawing in through the abdominals again. So we scoop in and up. We also want you to have a little gap underneath the waist. So either we think about these ribs, lifting them up off of the floor. We create the little gap. Otherwise, this top hip, think about drawing it down and away. So you see the difference in the hip position. So we push it down and away, we create the gap. And really we want to keep that gap throughout this move. So this is a slight variation on the clam. We're going to lift the top leg, keeping it bent, so keep that 90 degrees. And then we bring the knees together. So we drop the knee down, lifting the foot. We lift the knee up, so we come back to the shin being parallel to the floor. We then touch the feet together and lift. So we touch the knee and touch the toes. Knee and toes. Lovely. So we still bring strength and mobility into the hips and into the glutes with this move. Keep the breath. We start to strengthen the outside of the hip. So our hip flexors at the front of our hip take a lot of work on a daily basis. They then start to get tight and short and uncomfortable for us. But if we can strengthen the hips, the other parts of the hips and the glutes, we can start to take some of that pressure away from the hip flexors. And we want to switch on the glutes. They're very lazy. They will let other parts of the body do the work for them. So really think about engaging the back of the body, squeezing that glute. Oh, and it starts to burn quite quickly. Keep using the breath. Don't drop the knee. When it's lifted, keep the lift. Shin parallel to the floor at the top. A little bit longer. Final 3. 2. And 1. Oh, lengthen that leg away. Oh, you might need to give it a little punch if that really starts to burn. It does get rid of the pain, the ache. But they're going to take hold of the foot, drawing it in towards the bum, so that we just take a thigh stretch. So into the quad, which is the muscle in the thigh. And I want you to make this nice and active. So think about lengthening the thigh bone and drawing that knee down and away from the body. We draw the foot in towards the bum, creating a deeper stretch. So it's nice and active. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the top leg, and then I want you to bring it in front. So it's across the body. Lay the head down if you haven't already. Lift the top arm, and we're going to rotate. So taking the arm backwards, rotating through the chest. Keep drawing the belly in. And we feel the stretch into the back of the body, the shoulder, the chest. And we breathe. Last breath. Gently rolling it back over and bringing that arm down. Draw the leg back in. Lovely. We're going to do the other side. So you can either just roll over. I'm just going to flip around to the other side so that you can still see me when I have my back to you. So choose your option with the head in the hand, whatever feels better for you, what's more comfortable. We bring the knees to 90 degrees, feet underneath the bum. So we've got that alignment, shoulder, hip, and feet. Gap underneath the waist. Lift up the hips, lift up the ribs, or think about this top hip, drawing it down and away. This other hand can be used as support if you need it. So we lift the top knee, so that our shin is parallel to the floor. We bring the knee to knee, lift, toe to toe, lift. So you might have a better range of movement on one side than the other. And that is perfectly normal. I have one side that feels a little bit easier to get into this move. We'll just try and keep the shin parallel to the floor. And we immediately start to feel that work into the back of the body, the back of the hip, the back of the glute. This bottom leg, we want to keep where it is. So we don't want it to lift off of the floor. If you need to just place your hand there, just to check, then that's fine. You do what you need to do. Keep with the breath. We can feel the back of the body working here. This is how we build strength and endurance. We want these muscles to be strong all the time, not just for short periods of the day when maybe we're doing plans. Oh, breathe through the ache. We're not here for too much longer. Final 3. Take your time. Last 2. And last 1. Lovely. Ooh, lengthen the leg away. Ouch. Give it a punch. And then when you feel ready, we're going to take hold of the foot. Draw it in towards the bum. Lengthen that thigh bone, lengthen through the thigh, through the quad muscles. Reaching that knee away from the body. And keeping the bottom leg down. Breathe into the stretch. Keep drawing the leg in. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the leg. Draw it across the body, so we bring it out in front of us. Come and pop the head down if you haven't already. Lift this top arm up, reaching up and away, and then we rotate. So drawing the arm back. Feel the stretch in the shoulder blade and the stretch across the front of the shoulder and the chest, keeping the legs where they are. You might even want to draw this top leg a little bit further up towards the body, intensifying the stretch in the back of the leg. And we breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently rolling it back over. Relax the arm down. Bend the knee. Ooh. And lengthen the legs away. We're going to come on up now. Onto our front, into our all-4 position. From here, I want you to step your right leg forward into a lunge. And I want you to drop into the back hip. So we come as far down as we can. The knee is in line with the ankle, so you might need to shuffle the foot forward a little bit, maybe give it a bit of help. And bringing the hands to start with onto the inside of the leg. So we feel the stretch into the hip. Breathe. And then I want you to take your right arm. We're going to lift it up so we come into this nice open twist. Breathe into the stretch. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come and place that hand down. Stay in this stretch, in this lunge for a little bit longer. You're using the hands to support you. We're then going to sit the hips back a little bit as we take the leg back and we come onto the other side. Left foot steps forward. Drop into the hips. Knee and ankle are in alignment on the leg. So making sure that the knee is over the ankle. Bringing the hands down onto the floor. Sink down into the hips. Use your breath. We take the left arm, reach up and away. So we come into that open twist. Reaching fingertips towards the ceiling, sinking down into the hip. We breathe for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back into the center, we stay in our long, low line for a little bit longer. And then gently starting to sit the hips back so that we can bring the leg back in. I want you to come down and take a seat. So I'm just going to stay facing the side so that you can see a bit better. Soles of the feet together and just let the knees drop out to the side, however they will naturally. We don't want to force them down. Sitting nice and tall through the spine. Take an in-breath. On your out breath, I just want you to bring the chest down towards the feet. So we start to bring a little bit more of a stretch into the inner thighs. On your next exhale, walk the hands in, bring the chest up. Inhale. Exhale, walk down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, walk up. Few more of these. So inhaling at the top, exhale to come down. So every time you change the position of the chest and the upper body, you exhale. Realigning at the top. We take 2 more. And then when you reach the top, just take hold of the ankles and just take a minute to breathe. Inhale in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Final breath. And then you can relax. You've completed today's class. Well done, everyone. And hopefully see you again soon. Thank you so much.